All right, wake it up, kids, and let's talk about some knives. This is Uncle Don, and we're going to review a knife today. Today is going to be the Ganzo G619. And I drew you a picture. You know, I'm a teacher, so my kids at school, they always like it when I draw pictures, and since you are my favorite class, I drew you a picture of this awesome knife. It's the Ganzo G619. It's just a cheapo Chinese, but today we're going to look at it and we'll make some determinations of how cheap it is and is it a good value or not. Got a couple of disclaimers. First, I don't know a whole lot about the knife collecting hobby, so I may be off on some of my nouns and verbs and lingo and that kind of stuff. So if I mess it up, please correct me in the comments. That's fine, but please be polite because I dislike rudeness. Polite entries only if you got them. All right, so again, I wanted to give people a look at this knife in English, and the reason is when I looked this thing up, I saw this for $8. It was the reason why I bought it. $8 on Amazon, and I wanted to hear a review on it or see a review on the video, and I couldn't find any in English. I found several that it sounded like it was just a lot of different languages, but not in English. So we'll give you one from the old Los Estados Unidos, from the Deep South. And another disclaimer is, again, I don't know. I've never owned an expensive knife. I've never owned anything. Especially expensive knife. A lot of guys are walking around with a pocket knife in their pocket that's worth a couple of $100, and you know that's not me. I don't know if I could spend that money on one. So because of that, I don't have that kind of perspective. Like if I had to hold the best knife in the world, I would be able to tell you, hey, this isn't the best knife in the world because why, or at least the most expensive. So anyway, we'll get into this. My initial impression of the Ganzo G619 is okay. Can I be honest? The first impression is $8. They could send me anything. They could send me a polished turd, and I wouldn't cry too much on it. But my initial impression is just pulling this out of the box is it's very smooth. There's the model number. This is a very smooth knife. It feels really good in my hand. The blade steel seems solid. There's not a lot of play here. It locks good. I popped it on the table a few times and tried to break the lock on it a few times, and it wasn't working. And I hit it hard, fairly hard. So it feels like it's decent quality. The handle material seems a little bit cheap. Just to give you a size comparison, let's look at a couple of these other. This is the Ontario Rat Model 1, and that's the size comparison on it. This is my favorite pocket knife I got. That's the SA Avispa, and so that just gives you an idea of the size of it. This guy here. Before I get into the specs, I just want to say, so the handle material, I read a written review, and it said G10, but this is G10. This is a little flipper from Grow, and this is a G10. I have some other G10 knives from Ganzo. If y'all would tell me how to pronounce that, I think it's Patty's potato peelers. He calls it Ganzo. I don't know if that's an Irish accent or what. Anyway, so tell me how to pronounce that. But anyway, this is much denser material. I believe this might be G10. I'm not sure. But this feels like cheap plastic. But for some reason, it still feels really good. So we've got that. It's got that going for it. Let's go into some specs. The blade thickness is 2.5 millimeter. Which is almost 1/8 of an inch for those of you who don't speak millimeter. We have a blade length that's 89 millimeters, which is just shy of 3.5 inches to the scales right there. And I guess that's, just since I'm new to the whole business here, I feel like blade length means if I stabbed this into something, that it would go in 3.5 inches or whatever the blade length is. So blade length, I believe, from what I've been watching, is from the tip to the scales. It does have a liner lock with some decent jimping right here. can be a little bit of a hot spot there. And let's talk about the price. I paid, like I said, I paid $8. I double checked it on Amazon. It's out of stock. That listing is gone. And I found it on a couple other things, and they're discontinued too. The places where if I needed to buy this right now, it would be on eBay from $10 to $15 on eBay, and they I don't know if it's one of those eBay deals where you buy it for $10 and then it will take a month and a half or 3 months to get to you, because I know that's happened with me on some of the other Ganzo knives. But they eventually come. But anyway, that's the only place I found it. There's a place called Blades and Bows, like bow and arrow, and in England, I guess, and it's listed for £5.99 sterling. And then we have a company called Fast Tech selling it for $6.82. It's got this pocket clip on here. I'll give you that's one of my cons, that pocket clip is, and it's got a thumb hole here that's a bird's eye shape or modified teardrop shape, and it does. I feel this is a decent one-handed opening and closing. I'm still working on my flipping ability. Let's try if I can just. Oh, there you go. Look here, Mama. I'm a ninja. So just flipping it around. It's fun. It's a fun little knife just to be flipping while you're watching the Braves game, which everyone loves the Braves. Don't tell me different if you don't. Okay, just so you know, my hands are extra large on the gloves. Loose extra large, but way too tight on the large. So that's just so you know. I can move that. The pros of this knife, like I said, it feels good in the hand. It fills my hand up good, and my hands are fairly big, and the scales are very comfortable, even though they do, like I said, they feel kind of cheap. Like, you know, the knives they have at the hardware store right by the register in a little box or a bucket or something, and they're for, you know, less than $10. They're trying to sell you. That's kind of what this one looks like, but it's a little bit higher quality than some of those. It just has a good, solid feel to it. Now, the cons on this, the edges of this thumb hole are sharp. They're probably right at 90 degrees. And when you open this knife, your thumb slides right into the tight spot there, which, you know, it looks aggressive and it looks kind of nice or whatever, but it'd probably be better turned around. Just because it just is a little bit uncomfortable. Not terrible, not by any stretch. It's just a small con. The pocket clip is my biggest problem with this thing. It seems real cheap and flimsy. It comes right out of the pocket without any gripping. Also, the placement of this pocket clip, I wish they'd have done it down here. And I think that's called tip up if it's turned the other way. But yeah, if you turn it down there, then it will ride deeper. And because it rides so high and it's loose, I don't carry it. The jimping here is a little bit rough on the fingers. Then this jimping here seems to be kind of smooth. Those are my small cons, but like I said, this is a sweet knife. The uses I'm thinking for this knife is going to be, you could use it for a backup, a beater, a learner for a kid, maybe his first knife or something you don't care if he loses, and then sharpening practice. He could practice sharpening. So anyway, that's my little short review on that. Getting a good deal is fun. It's like you beat somebody. Whooped him again, Josie. You know, like in the movie Josie Wales. Yeah, kid, we did whoop him. So that's it.